Welcome back. The presidency has slammed the governors of the People's Democratic Party over their comments on the performance of the Buhari-led government. The PDP Governors Forum had taken a swipe at the APC's performance, saying the APC-led federal government had meted out hardship on Nigerians. They also said the PDP was ready to take over and offer qualitative leadership, but reacting to the PDP's verdict, the presidency, in its response, said the main opposition party sought to cover up its alleged criminal failures and damaging period in office, as the APC put it, which Buhari's administration had to repair. Also, the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party hailed former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Pastor Adeboye of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, for their statements over the insecurity in the country. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo had said the APC regime, as you heard us just talk about, had been overwhelmed by insecurity. Pastor Adeboye, on his part, said he was unsure if the 2023 general elections will take place, as he expressed shock over the bombing of a train or rail track in Jos. Now, joining us to talk about this is PDP's Deputy National Publicity Secretary, Ibrahim Abdullahi. Mr. Abdullahi, good evening to you. Thanks for your time.
Very much, my brother. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, so just walk us through what exactly the People's Democratic Party's Governors Forum is saying about the Buhari-led federal government.
Well, the forum is talking about the unprecedented disappointment in administration that has come to characterize President Buhari's administration since 2015. No one would have agreed that a day will come in Nigeria where everyone will be living in fear and perpetual misery, like it has come to be the case. If you look at this country today, we have finally degenerated to that probation state of nature where life is nasty, brutish, solitary, and short. Maybe he had Nigeria in mind when Thomas Hobbes was talking about state of nature. Today, there seems to be no authority in place. Nobody is in check. Nobody has the understanding of even what power is about. Nigerians have come to accept every day as it comes, as the true situation of life, because they seem to have come to terms with the fact that nobody is in control. The center can no longer hold. The nation is in disarray. The security architecture has failed. The economy has crumbled. Virtually everything that makes life worthy of being called life is no longer in Nigeria. Nigerians have lost hope completely, and they are not even looking at it from the point of redemption. They have finally accepted that only divine miracle could save the country. But it is sad, it's unfortunate. We have come to find ourselves in a one chance bus. These people who came and assured us that they were going to provide the solution that Nigeria badly needed in 2015. Nigeria was the fastest growing economy, if you recall, in Africa, and the third fastest in the world as at 2015 when these people came. I find it difficult to come to terms with the adjectives that come to my mind if I come to describe them. But as far as one can foresee, they have themselves admitted from their action and inaction that they have not only failed, that they have disappointed Nigeria beyond leaps and bounds. And you could see the shame permeating all over, following them from nooks and crannies. So the Governors Forum came up with a communique where it's talking about the inflation, spiraling inflation, which has combined with administrative incompetence to reduce even the quality of life of Nigerians. And it is sad, it is unfortunate. So what the forum is talking about is the reality that you and I are facing, and this doom that is staring us in the face every other day.
All right, you've talked about, the sorry state of the Nigerian economy. You've talked about, how the All Progressives Congress has led Nigeria sort of to the doldrums. But some would argue that this began when the PDP was in power. The current economic crisis, about if you take out COVID-19, you take out maybe some of the wrong policies or inefficiencies of this government, that the genesis of the financial crisis in Nigeria started when the PDP held sway as the ruling party in Nigeria. And we can go back to, the statements of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala from 2014. Ms. Abdullahi, some of which I'm looking at right now. She came up with the belt-tightening statement, saying that there was a need to adopt belt-tightening policies to plug leakages and try to increase revenue, because of the drop in revenue and the drop in oil prices. So what do you say to this? That this current economic crisis with having in Nigeria, and especially with the recession, started before the PDP left?
I think the way to understand all of these things for a layman who is out there in the street is to break the economic situation of the country from a micro perspective. If you recall the price of petroleum, first kerosene, let's talk about kerosene, which is a requirement in virtually majority of the homes of Nigerians. Kerosene was selling at 180 naira as opposed to 450 that it is today. 12.1 kg of cylinder of gas was selling at 2,400 as of 2015. It is now 8,000 and 10,000 in some places. This bag of rice, and I must add, this is one area that these people have successfully, deceived Nigerians in the years from 2015 to now, that they are back in the farm, that they have produced in surplus. Yet, the price of this staple has skyrocketed beyond the reach of a common man. In fact, it has hit rooftops, and you cannot even begin to comprehend how people survive in this country. This same bag of rice, for example, sold at 8,000 in 2015. It is now 39,000 if you can find it. Electricity, which is a necessity in every home, was 14.23 per kilowatt in 2015. It is now 38, and in some places 40, and it's not even available. Unemployment rate was 11.4% in 2015, and today you can imagine what figure it is. The poverty rate was 11.3%, and now it is 42%. I mean, everything, inflation in the country in 2015 was just 4%. Today it is 15.5, almost 16%. So what indices, what is the parameter for these people measuring their success?
Mr. Abdullahi, are you denying that Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala said in 2013, 2014 that Nigeria's economy was shaky and the Nigerians needed to brace themselves for hard times? I just want to go to a report by the Premium Times from 2000. This is from 2013. It's just a 3-minute read, but I won't read it all, waste your time, by Ogechi Ike-Iyamu of the Premium Times, where it says, and I quote, on Monday, June 10, at the third round of the 2013 ministerial platform in Abuja, Coordinating Minister for the Economy and Minister of Finance Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala spoke glowingly about the Nigerian economy, saying the fundamentals were strong and that the economy was buoyant beyond danger. But a few hours later, on Tuesday, when all the doors were closed, the paper says, the minister sang a different tune. She told her colleagues in government, point blank, the Nigerian economy is shaky despite the official fundamentals and that drastic steps are needed to be taken to save it from collapse, is what she said. So what would you say to this? And then we move on to the year 2014, where she actually now said that there was a looming economic meltdown and Nigerians needed to adopt what she called belt-tightening policies. So are you denying that all these things were said by Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala at the time, 2013, 2014?
I will respond by asking you a question. And that question is, are we better off today? If she said that, are you now saying that it's connected to the situation that we are truly in today?
I'm asking you, sir, and I won't allow you to turn the tables on me. I asked the question which you haven't answered. I know how it works. Are you denying, are you saying that these facts are not true?
She could have stated these fears in 2014 and earlier than that. Actually, to appreciate the need for government at that time to beef up and to sit up over the responsibility before it. But let me say very clearly, These people came with the assurances that they were going to fix the problems. They went every corner, every nook, assuring Nigerians that they were the only ones with the capacity. And the person of Mr. President is the best thing after Jesus Christ that will happen to Nigeria. And all Nigeria needed to have all its problems fixed was to get that man in power. Today, even his own party faithfuls, like we have listened recently from Governor El-Rufai, Rotimi Amechi, and very many who have come sincerely to admit that there's failure in administration, that there is gross incapacity. But it didn't take us that long for us to know. The first 3 months, in fact, before he resumed office, we knew that they were foisting on Nigeria a person who is devoid of integrity, devoid of capacity, and the one that lacks even the understanding of what contemporary democratic politics and global economy is about. A person who has held on to the Ministry of Petroleum in addition to his being the president, and petroleum went all-time high in the history of Nigeria. A person who claimed that he was a general in the military. I say claim because he has not been able to marry action, his words with action. A person who has come and multiplied the security problems and economic doldrums that he has taken Nigeria into. A person who has killed the dreams of Nigeria. A person who has brought inflation to all-time high. A person who seems not to even understand what, civility. Look at these people. When they are not stealing, robbing, and plundering the wealth of the nation, they go ahead blackmailing and using vendetta and blackmail against people who have brought Nigeria.
Are you there, sir? If you're watching, if you can hear me, Mr. Abdullah, I think it's not be fair to say these particular individuals from the Buhari administration that you pointed out actually said the government has failed. Because I listened to them. You mentioned Rotimi Amechi and another individual, I think it was El-Rufai. But they didn't necessarily say the federal government as a whole has failed. Are you there, sir? All right, we sincerely apologize for the network issues, but of course, we're still looking at the statement made about a fortnight ago by the People's Democratic Party and its Governors Forum regarding the security situation, or the economic situation rather, in the country, and indeed the security situation in the country as well. And they have said that the APC-led federal government has failed and is a failure and is not fit to contest the next election. However, of course, the federal government has also had its say in response to what the People's Democratic Party Governors Forum has been saying about their performance as far as leading Nigeria is concerned. And they've also said, the APC, the federal government, that the PDP didn't do any better in its time in charge of the country. And of course, these are questions that I was hoping Mr. Abdullah, the Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, will be able to answer. Mr. Abdullah, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. You said that the likes of Rotimi Amechi and co. have said that the federal government has failed, but I believe that that's not what they said. If we had to be fair to Amechi and other members of this administration, they didn't categorically come out to say that the federal government under Buhari has failed.
Well, they may not use my language directly, but the import of what they have said. And this will not be the first time Governor El-Rufai will be admitting that they are responsible for this high level of insecurity in the country. This will not be the first time. Even preceding the 2019 election, just a journey of 2 years between 2019 and 2015 to 2019, El-Rufai has admitted the gross incapacity of the person of the president. And it has been corroborated severally by the late Minister of Women Affairs, Aisha Ismail. It has also been affirmed by Governor Rotimi Amechi, now Minister of Transportation. These people themselves have come to accept that the worst thing Nigeria will have is that president of APC and the government of APC in place, because it has only succeeded in inflicting problems, pain, anguish, and penury on Nigerians, as opposed to coming to address their plight.
But Mr. Abdullahi, what the statement by Garba Shehu, mediator to the president, is released a statement saying that what the APC has been trying to do is to repair the damage caused by the People's Democratic Party in its 16 years of ruling Nigeria.
What will you expect from a Garba Shehu who speaks from both sides of his mouth? A Garba Shehu who has lost credibility the very minute he started.
Yeah, but can we stick to the issue he raised? Do you disagree that the PDP?
You brought his name here.
Yes. No, but he's saying what he was saying, Mr. Abdullahi. If you would allow me, sir, to ask you the question, sir. What he was saying is that
look at the person, the messenger bringing the message, not the person, not the message that is brought.
No. I want us to dwell on his response, sir, please. He is saying, Mr. Abdullahi, can you hear me, please? Yes. Garba Shehu is saying that the APC is been trying to repair the damage the PDP inflicted on Nigeria in the 16 years of ruling. He's talking about things like corruption. He's talking about things like insecurity, and misrule. He's saying 16 years of damage, he calls it. So what's your response to that? Did the PDP inflict Nigeria with 16 years of damage, like Garba Shehu says?
I thought these problems in question are problems these people say they were going to fix within 6 months. Whether insecurity. So are
you agreeing with him?
How could I imagine doing that? Garba Shehu statement is the same statement that APC has been telling Nigeria: lies, falsehood, fabrication, denial. People who have refused to accept that they are the worst government that humanity has seen. People who have deluded themselves into believing that they have the capacity, but they have seen every other passing hour that they are not only lacking the capacity, that even the credibility and sincerity that is expected of a leader is completely.
But he's saying that I want to read some of the statement, some part of the statement from the Garba Shehu. He says that, quote, we cannot forget, under the PDP, the nation had an army full of phantom soldiers whose pay went to PDP politicians' pockets, while our under-resourced real soldiers died in the fight against terrorist insurgents, and our international allies refused to supply kit and military aid. He says, it continues by saying, today, with the APC, the army is resourced. We have fighter jets from our partners. Boko Haram is being driven from every inch of the Nigerian territory, and ISWAP's leader is eliminated in a Nigerian airstrike. What are your thoughts on that? That the army was ill-equipped and the pay for soldiers was going to the pockets of politicians?
Let me ask you a question in responding. Since you came to this country and lived in this country, have you heard where the military will vacate its point of duty and run away, like we have seen between 2015 and 2019?
Well, I was born in this country, so I think I'll take my time back to then. But he's saying that it happened under your administration, and he's talked about, for instance, the equipping of the army, that they were ill-equipped, and we have the records to show that you had military protests and mutiny and all that.
I think the most important thing that should engage us is not what Garba Shehu, who has suddenly become the drum beater. I think we should be talking about the reality on ground. And you and I are faced by these realities increasingly day in, day out. If your street, from where you are working now, from your office to your place of work, is as secured as it was in 2015, I leave it to you. If the airport, this is the first time, let me remind you, that a train would be bombed. And that was a statement of Obasanjo during the background. I heard you say something about that, which got the commendation of even the publicity of the party. This is the first time throughout my living on earth that a train will be bombed on the track.
But the Obasanjo you're calling tore his PDP membership card because of the failures of your party at the time.
Could PDP be responsible for this high level of insecurity? That is the question I'm asking.
But will the PDP do any better?
I have not seen this thing in my entire life, not even in Nigeria, not even in Somalia.
Okay. All right. Mr. Abdullahi, I'm afraid we have to call it a day. I want to thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and hope to have you soon again on Plus Politics. And that's so much you can take on the program tonight. Of course, we've had Ibrahim Abdullahi, the Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. Thanks for staying with us. We'll round up today's show with Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo speaking on the attack on the Abuja-Kaduna train. I'm Kofi Bitel's Plus Politics returns with a very interesting edition tomorrow.
The federal government has condemned the Kaduna-Abuja train attack by terrorists, calling it barbaric. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who cut short his earlier engagement in Lagos to visit the site of the attack, said the government was doing everything possible to end insurgency. In company of the Governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, the Vice President proceeded to see victims of the attack at 44 Army Reference Hospital and St. Gerald Hospital.
It is evident that there is no, it's not as if there's any real benefit, even for them. So we remain resolute in our commitment to ensuring that these sorts of things are prevented and that as quickly as possible services are restored and that the type of safety measures that are required are put in place. We've been round to see some of the victims of the very tragic incident, and many of them, of course, are recovering very well. And we're very happy to see that the state government has taken on the responsibility of medical assistance to them and ensuring that they're comfortable and that they're well. And the federal government will support in every possible way to ensure that these people who just, innocent people just traveling from Kaduna to Abuja, just doing their regular business, are assaulted in a cowardly way in the dead of night, late at night. I think it's condemnable, and we must all condemn it and resolve to ensure that these sorts of things do not happen again.
The Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Lucky Irabo, and the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali, also visited the scene of the deadly attack.
This is dastardly acts, and I'd like to assure you that those behind it will not go unpunished. Currently, the men are on their chase, and they will certainly pay the price.
Meanwhile, the figure of those kidnapped is still sketchy, as family members of those on board the train besieged the station in a search.
It's a very tragic situation now. I'm not the only one here. If you check around, you can see that there are a lot of people waiting for maybe they'll be able to get any relevant information concerning the incident. And up to now.
And so far, there is no information from the train manager.
They are not giving us any information. That is the issue. They are not talking to us. They are keeping all their this thing to themselves.